Hello everyone, and welcome back to Bulldog Weekly Season 7, Episode 23. I'm Ezra.
And I'm Sienna. In this week's episode, we'll be getting an exclusive interview with the seniors, an inside look at what's going on in AP research, and Anthony and Ezra will share their thoughts on Dune Part 2.
Sounds great, but before we get to that, here's Mr. Devoll and Mr. Carrig with a week of head in school and sports. Take it away.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Rundown. Today is Sunday, May 12th. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Things are flying at the high school, especially for our seniors, as we look at this week is their last week of classes. They'll follow the week of exams after that, but this is class time. So I'm going to start with our AP testing schedule. We're in the middle of AP exams, and we've got a full week, and our students need to know when these are. So Monday we have AP Calculus. We've got 9 students taking that test. Tuesday we have AP English Language. So we've got 27 students taking the AP Lang test. Wednesday, May 15th, Computer Science Principles. 29 students taking that. Thursday the 16th, 2 exams happening. One in the morning, one in the afternoon. The morning test is Spanish and the afternoon test is Biology. 2 more tests also on Friday. The 17th, we've got Physics and Latin. So that's important for our AP students this week. Beyond that, Monday's going to start with the Bulldog block and a mentor day. It's the last mentor day for our seniors, and they are going to conduct a locker cleanout just to make sure they're leaving nothing behind. Then we've got 5 days of Bulldog block. On the 16th, which is Thursday, it's the last day of classes for seniors on the even day schedule. Friday the 17th is the last day on the odd day schedule. But they're only going to see 2 classes on Friday. So seniors go to block 1, then they go to block 2, and then they're dismissed one last time. They'll go out to the football field, they'll get their yearbooks, do some yearbook signings, and have a class picnic out on the field. So that's it. They've got kind of 2 last days of school because of the every other day schedule, the 16th and the 17th. Beyond that, seniors are going to have a field day on Tuesday, so there's a lot going on. AP tests, the end of the year for seniors, and the rest of us forge ahead.
What's up, Bulldogs? I'm Mr. Carrig, and here's the rundown. Weather was a tough factor last week, causing plenty of postponements, but here are the results. Girls lacrosse lost to Plymouth North to start the week, but ended with a win against Dighton Rehoboth. They play Seekonk today. Boys lacrosse also lost to Dighton Rehoboth, and they play Nantucket today. Girls softball lost to Bourne DR and then Vogue. Today they play Somerset Berkeley, along with the boys baseball team. Boys baseball finished the week with a win against Bourne, but losses to Dighton Rehoboth and Vogue. Last but not least, tennis! Both teams beat Dighton Rehoboth, but the girls added in a win against Wareham too. You guys won Wareham? Sorry, that's so exciting. They both played Dartmouth today. Good luck to all the teams competing this week, and go Bulldogs!
Thanks for the informative update.
Now it's segment time. First up, let's take a look at some wonderful presentations from the AP research students.
This is for Brad.
For RCTV, I gotta go film the research projects.
Oh, sweet.
Heck yeah. RCTV. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Welcome
All right.
to the AP Research Showcase 2024. Sweet. Right here. Wow. Doesn't mean that it's just like area.
So tell me about this project.
So I studied the decline of local newsrooms in Massachusetts, and what do you want to know?
What do these graphs mean?
So I was studying different indicators of decline, like changes in publication, employment, and circulation, and then also changes, looking for what factors cause that. And you'll see that surprisingly, most of the newsrooms in Massachusetts have been expanding, unlike other areas. But I found that part of this reason wasn't because newsrooms in Massachusetts are actually expanding, but instead I was studying only the survivors, those that I could survey and haven't closed. And so the indication that they're expanding rather than just staying the same actually indicates that newsrooms in Massachusetts are severely declining because there's like 216 that have closed, allowing these to expand and gain new audiences.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's a really cool topic. A lot better than Pizza Time.
Mine was investigating the reasons why youth in New Bedford, Massachusetts join street gangs.
Oh, okay.
So I sought to establish a set of factors that lead youth to join gangs in the city, and I found that the dominant set of factors were friend and peer influence, family influence, music and role models, disconnection with the education system, social media, and socioeconomic status.
Oh, okay, I like it.
And it was done through interviews with participants who were either formerly or currently involved in a street gang. And from there, the most common themes from their stories and interviews were extracted and used to make the factors set.
All right. I dig it.
I studied Jane Austen film adaptations, and I looked at how factors of commodification, performative humor, and Austen womanhood kind of work together through a content analysis. And I found that modern language was the most overshadowing theme of commodification, but the most used theme of commodification was immaturity. Yeah.
Okay. I like the poster, like the flowers and the vines and the QR code. Makes you feel interactive. I like it. Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
This is my project.
I like it.
It was on pediatric stroke education.
Oh my God.
So, because I myself had a stroke.
That's
so it's basically-
amazing.
I just went in and I researched what happened to me.
That's actually really cool.
So it was because it's such a rare disease, I decided to look into education because before it happened to me, I had no idea that pediatric stroke even existed. So I really looked at the education and how well students know pediatric stroke, students and teachers, and whether we should implement some kind of education to teach students about it.
Yeah.
And so I used a survey analysis where I sent out a survey and I asked about background questions. The most common response acronym for stroke, be fast, and then I asked what they thought the best method was for teaching students about pediatric stroke. So I came to the conclusion that students at the moment don't really need it due to the rarity of the disease, as well as they have some familiar knowledge with adult stroke, as there's some similarities across both different diseases. However, in the future, there would definitely be some benefit to applying pediatric stroke education to the health curriculum or other news.
Okay.
So yeah.
Wow. Very interesting. Very cool. They totally should have stroke education here. So, Ariel, this is your project?
Yes. Wait, what do I have to do?
Huh?
Do you want me to just explain it?
Yeah, just go. Let's do it.
I conducted a content analysis on movies about Egypt, or the top 8 highest grossing movies about Egypt. And I took notes as I was watching them on some elements that I selected from different sources that had also conducted content analysis.
Okay.
So basically, these are some of the more common elements that are commonly associated with Egypt.
Yeah.
And I looked for them in these movies, which are only fictional and mythological movies, in order to show that these elements shouldn't be considered as nonfiction, even though they can be commonly misinterpreted as such. And basically, it was just supposed to prevent people from mixing that up, so people don't gain a false interpretation of
I
Egypt.
love Night at the Museum.
So
I love that movie so much.
These are if you want to zoom in on them.
Yes.
Those are the movies that I watched and took notes on throughout my process.
This is such a fun project.
And then these are the results. So the elements man, God, contact, magic, and treasure were the most common with the movies. So those were the elements. Those are basically the main elements that you should look out for when you're watching the movies, so that you don't interpret them as nonfiction.
Okay, wow. Well, great job, Ariel. This is really good. I like it a lot. This is ORC TV.
Yes, hello. So my study was on the correlation between cholesterol levels and suicide risk as a potential biomarker. And a biomarker is basically a certain condition or pattern you see most likely in the blood that predicts a medical phenomenon. So in this case, it would be your risk for suicide. Suicide has been increasing from 2000 to 2018. It has not actually decreased in any of the states. Current biomarkers that are currently being studied include these different factors are found in the brain, but I specifically looked at cholesterol. It's found that actually lower cholesterol is shown to decrease serotonin activity, which regulates our emotions, aggression, and therefore you're more prone to suicide. But also higher triglycerides and higher LDL cholesterol, because cholesterol can be divided into 4 different ones, including HDL, LDL, total, and triglycerides. So for my method, I did a quantitative correlation analysis between these various cholesterol levels and suicide risk. I took data from the CDC's National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, and I basically divided the depression screener either by a total analysis or just a suicide question, whether they were low, moderate, or severe. And then I was able to separate the sequence numbers, which are the different individuals, and compare their cholesterol results to the depression results.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, and my main findings were that HDL and LDL show lower levels across all years. There's an exponential increase in total cholesterol and a more defined correlation with the 090 suicide question, but there wasn't a defined correlation, and it definitely needs more study because there was definitely a pattern shown, but within the different years, but there wasn't a defined conclusion. And also some of our limitations was that I just wasn't able to access medical diagnosis data, which could have definitely skewed the results.
Okay. Wow, this is actually really cool. I like this. I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's actually not very well known.
I don't think so, no.
There's actually not a lot of testing that have been done in the U.S., and also it's very outdated. A lot of my studies were from the early 2000s.
Well, props to you for tackling such a difficult subject.
You.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
Well, great job. This is ORC TV, so say goodbye.
Thank you.
All right, cool.
Great job, and congrats on all your hard work.
Up next, Anthony and I will share our thoughts on Dune Part 2. Take a look. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Movie Talk. I'm here today with Anthony to talk about Dune Part 2 and additionally Dune Part 1. Liam unfortunately was not able to make it because he had 3 months to watch the movie and did not, so...
Hasn't even watched the first part.
Yep. So let's start.
We're going to start by talking about the first Dune movie really quickly.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, we both liked it. I think I might like the first one more.
Really?
I like them kind of equally, but the first one felt more structured to me. But I've seen it more, so.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because I felt differently. I thought that, well, Dune Part 1 is basically all set up for Dune Part 2. Like, it's definitely a very structured plot, but I've always found that it's like, until like around the second half of the movie, it's very much just like world building instead of like a plot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I think Dune Part 2 is more focused on being like an epic, like an Empire Strikes Back type thing.
Yeah, Part 2 though to me felt like, I mean, I liked it probably just as much. I love both movies, but Part 2, there was a point where I kind of was getting lost. You know, as much action as there is, it's clear that they wanted more action in the second part because a lot of people talked about the first one, but I don't think it made as much money as they wanted it to. So then they put a lot more action in this one, and there's a lot more. But there's like a point where when they introduce like Phaedra, Austin Butler's character, it kind of like gets it just kind of jumps from different plot points to plot points that don't really connect. But that was just like, kind of got me a little lost. But at the same time, Austin Butler is probably my favorite part about Dune Part 2.
Same.
He's like his character, the writing of the character, I mean his performance is amazing too, but the writing of the character is just very well done. His introduction, like his very first scene, just makes him effortlessly like cynical, like he just wants blood. He just wants to kill people.
Yeah.
And I think that's perfect for the people that he comes from, the Harkonnen.
And speaking of Austin Butler's character, I really loved the Harkonnen world. Do you remember what it was called?
GD Prime.
Yeah.
It's like when it's in space, it's just like black.
Yeah, I loved how like black and white it was. I loved the gladiator duel. The fireworks that were like black paint splashes in the air.
Yeah.
I thought that was like so cool, so like visually inventive for a blockbuster.
Yeah, because it shows them as very disgusting people, but also they're very clearly they're very strong.
Yeah.
But also like in that gladiator fight, I was like, well, why are they just letting him kill them? But that's the point of the gladiator fight isn't to be like, look at how strong and fierce he is. It's more, look at how many people he's killing right now, and we like the blood. You know, like they bring out the Atreides army people that are like soldiers that have been taken in, and he just kind of beats them up. He's just a bully. You know,
it was obviously like it was a show of like power and dominance, but it's also clear that this is entertainment for these people.
Yeah.
They have such hate for like the Atreides.
The entertainment isn't how strong are our warriors. The entertainment is look at the other side, like just die. They don't like they have no empathy for anybody but their own people, which is harrowing for like the future too.
I'm hoping that there's like a growth, like without spoiling. I hope that there's like sort of a vengefulness with the Harkonnen that like continues to have them in the plot, because like again, just going back to that gladiator match, I really think that scene is so different from other gladiator matches like in other like popular movies, because it kind of shows how like brutal the people are in the audience as well. So I think that now that that's built, we have to do more with that, you know?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Paul Atreides in this movie. Quite an evolution here.
Yeah, Timothy gives a good performance. I don't know how I feel about, I mean, it's like, with him and his mother, they're very like stone-faced the whole movie, so it's hard for me to be like in the first movie, they were like you kind of admire them at the start. They're people that are, they're like royalty, but you're like, look at, he loves his mom and stuff. This one, they're just like, you have to kill like, you have to do this, that. She is like, kind of, she's cold. Yeah. She's cold in this movie. She's not as motherly in the first as she is in the first, but and she's pregnant, which isn't a spoiler, in the first one. And
we already kind of touched on this, but let's sort of talk about what did you like more in Dune Part 1 and what did you like more in Dune Part 2?
I said about like it kind of, Part 2 kind of like moves around a lot. I kind of liked how in Part 1 when they're on Arrakis and you're in the Atreides home on Arrakis, like their kind of castle area, that just felt very, like when he goes in there to put his hand in the box.
Yes.
And all that, it just felt very, I liked that, what's it called? Like the environment, the vibe, I just liked that. It just kind of builds upon it.
Yeah.
Though. Like, they're very, 1, 2, that's why I kind of think of them as equal in my head.
Yeah.
Dune Part 1, though, I just like, that kind of changed a lot for me, like world building wise. Like that is, you don't have to rush it. It's very slow in the first one, but it gets it done. And then the second one, more action.
I thought that Dune Part 2 did it was definitely better at being more nuanced, I guess, because now we're building sort of like this power struggle story. And like, again, going back to the big silent scene, it's kind of weird because Paul Atreides, you've kind of seen him as the hero this whole time. Like, he's been a good guy, but in that moment you see like a certain evil in him.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to root for him, but at the same time, like, the amount of power he has over those people is kind of uncomfortable. And I think that's one part that it does a lot better, is sort of building that discomfort and like how he's sort of losing himself in like this pursuit to save the world.
Well, yeah, because they kind of frame the Atreides as like these all good people, which I think they are, like with his father Leto or whatever. Like in that first movie, great guy, Oscar Isaac obviously does great in that. But then in the second one, with the plot twists and what you learn about Paul and what blood he has, you know, like the bloodlines that he has in his, it's kind of like, oh no. And it kind of adds that plot twist. That's why I liked it so much. It adds to like, oh no, Paul might not be a great dude. Like, it's nuanced. It's not like Star Wars or something where you're like you wouldn't see Luke Skywalker trying to get power, you know, be like, I need power. Yeah. But it feels like that's where Paul's going. And
exactly. I think that's what's going to make Part 3 really interesting.
Yeah. The mother as well. I mean, I could go on about the cast.
Yeah.
I'll just quickly say, casting is amazing.
Fantastic.
The acting is amazing. If there's anybody we didn't talk about, just know, at least I don't know. I think they all did 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
some of the best.
The acting was fantastic. How do you say his name? Denis
Villeneuve something.
Yeah, he directed them fantastically.
Yeah,
great performances all around, even from people I don't typically find to give excellent performances.
Yeah. Should we give her a rating?
Yep. You can go first.
Right. Well, I don't want to like give it a 10. Like I don't want to not. 'Cause I don't have any problems with it. Besides that little part where it's like, I felt like it was a little weird, wonky with like the structure. So probably like a 9.5.
I think I would give it a 9.5 too, except I'm not giving it not a 10 because of any specific complaint. It's just, I think it's basically a perfect movie. Probably the best space opera anything since the original Star Wars trilogy. But it's not something that personally connects with me enough for a 10, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, for me, like, I like Dune is like kind of made for what I like.
Yeah.
Which I like that. I like stories about power.
Yeah.
Where it's like a struggle between the characters and like you kind of see how people work through power and stuff. But yeah, 9.5. I think 1 is probably. I don't have any problems with 1.
I do.
But I don't want to give it a 10 because I don't think it's as good. Well, 10. I'll give it a 10.
I would give that one like an 8.5.
Yeah.
I believe that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys, and we miss you, Liam. And
maybe one day you'll watch these.
Watch the movie, Liam.
Yeah. Wow, what a movie. I highly recommend it.
In our last segment for today, we'll be getting an exclusive interview with the seniors of the ORC TV crew. Roll the clips. Just going to ask you a few questions on your high school experience and RCTV. So,
all right.
To start off, what was the highlight of your high school career?
Honestly, just getting through it, I think, is the highlight. But I don't know. I mean, academically, I did well. I think NHS, getting into that was cool. But that's just, I mean, as far as highlight goes, there's a lot of, little highlights in there, but like not like massive, I feel like, but also a lot of lowlights too. So I think it kind of balanced.
What is the most challenging task as a senior?
For me, at least, it was just getting through the college application process and still trying to keep up with school. I did the harder route, and I had to go to a lot of schools, and I had to apply for a lot of schools, and it just there were some times when it was really overwhelming. And it was nice to have high school to just keep me grounded throughout that time.
What has been your favorite part of high school?
Probably just seeing my friends and, yeah.
Where do you see yourself in the future?
In the future, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to school for business analytics, so probably something in that field. But I really do want to kind of get into movies and film and stuff like that. But as far as college goes, it's probably not where I'm going to be doing that. But maybe on the side. But as far as the future goes, I don't know. I think whatever happens. I mean, I'm probably going to be doing something with business analytics. That's my guess.
What has been the highlight of your senior year?
I mean, making the senior video has been a lot of fun. I've been just spending my year with the camcorder, just getting to highlight all the best parts of being a senior, and even looking back at some of our old stuff, and it's made me really sentimental, and I'm just so excited to show it to everyone in a few weeks.
And what has been your favorite moment of working at ORC TV?
Collaboration, working on different segments and stuff, and trying out new, things like hosting and stuff.
And then lastly, what has been your favorite part of being in ORC-TV?
My favorite part is probably the people and working with the equipment. I think working with film equipment is fun, something I've always wanted to do. And doing it for my school, I think, is cool too. Like, it kind of immerses myself into the community even more than I was previously. And I think it's great to just once again work with this type of equipment and really put out a good show for everyone every week.
And what advice do you have to any future ORC-TV members?
Don't be scared to try out different things, like segment ideas or jobs with hosting or directing.
And just one for fun, what has been your favorite sketch to film?
I don't know. The babysitting one with Molly was really funny. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I really liked the Charlie Brown Christmas. I think that was really great.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a really fun time. And then just movie talks with Ezra and Anthony is cool too. I enjoyed that. But just, everything as a whole is kind of just great.
Yeah.
Really, it's always good here. So.
Movie Talks is a classic.
Movie Talks classic.
Where do you imagine yourself 10 years from now?
In a ditch. No, I'm kidding. I mean, this could go a lot of ways. I see myself doing something in the arts, hopefully performing, but any way the wind blows. But I just hope I'm happy in whatever career I'm in, and I'm still close to my little sister.
How do you plan to use your experience at ORC-TV in the future?
Working at ORC-TV has given me a lot of opportunity to work with different equipment and stuff that if I went to college without that knowledge, I just wouldn't be able to keep up.
See ya.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Ezra.
I might just cry when they leave.
Me too, Sienna. Me too. Teachers and students, if you want something filmed and shown on Bulldog Weekly, let us know at the ORC-TV station.
Be sure to check out our Vimeo and social media channels for everything we film here at the ORC-TV station. We film sports games, town meetings, school events, and much more. Well, that wraps up this episode of Bulldog Weekly. Until next time, I'm Sienna.
And I'm Ezra.
And this is
Bulldog
Bulldog
Weekly.
Weekly.
Ha 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 ha.